Story 1. Modern media has shown us that being loud and throwing accusations around is the best way to argue. The amount of fallacies and angry vibes that I encounter when just trying to make a point is ridiculous. I see and hear a ton of red herring and straw man arguments as well, with people not responding to actual claims being made, preferring to go off on tangents they themselves created. If they don't get their way immediately, they say you are just trying to win, despite never actually refuting your point or presenting a valid counterpoint. Story 2. Reading, and I don't mean in general, but for example, when a new law or regulation is being considered, people don't tend to read the original documentation and just go by word of mouth. The same thing applies to policies and so on. Story 3. Critical thinking. Have your own thoughts about things that are happening or that you hear about. Connect ideas together for fun. Compare facts with other facts. Critical thinking is when you do not simply take what you receive at face value. People seeing things that you do not are not overthinking. They are simply thinking their own thoughts. They might be wrong, but it is good to practice anyway. Better than underthinking. Way better than taking everything at face value. Story 4. Risk assessment. Busy worrying about low probability matters while ignoring high probability ones. If everyone in the United States properly assessed risk, they would be far more scared of cars and sitting, and far less scared of things like terrorists and sharks, for example. Story 5. Please stop putting library books back on the shelf you took them from. It is often better to leave them neatly on a return cart, on a table, or at the front desk, depending on your library. We scan books that are used without checkout to add them to our circulation statistics. It helps us prove traffic and learn which items engage the community. Flagging items as used in-house does not require identifying information either. It is anonymous. Story 6. There's a little stick next to the steering wheel that moves up and down. When you move it, it illuminates a light on the exterior of your vehicle that informs other drivers that you're about to make a turn, reducing the likelihood of a crash. Story 7. Most people do not actually know how to feel their feelings. They distract themselves with work, social media, or anything to avoid sitting with real emotions. People act like they are fine, but deep down they are just running from the truth. Story 8. Left-hand turns. So many people cut too soon and almost clip you while you're waiting at the red light. You should go far enough into the intersection before starting your turn that you are driving straight by the time you pass my car. The driving instructor corrected me on this right away, but too many people never got the memo. Story 9. I work in a mall and get to work by subway. So many people get off the escalator and stop to tie their shoelaces or write a text. It is becoming unbearable. Story 10. I am looking at my fellow men here specifically, but there is definitely something with not thoroughly washing. I always wondered why it seemed like I could never shower as fast as other guys I knew. It felt like there was some secret life hack that I was missing where one could get fully clean in 30 seconds. Upon digging, I was horrified to discover that a lot of men simply do not wash their buttocks, legs, or feet. They just let the soap run down their body and assume it is clean. The scrubbing is the mechanism that makes things clean, and the soap is just there to help the water do its job. And gentlemen, I do not know what the hang-up is with your own buttocks. Just get up in there and scrub your undercarriage. That is one of the worst areas for odor and bacteria, and it is so unpleasant that you would think cleaning there is gross, but just wetting down the filth and drying off is not. Do better. When my wife and I first lived together, she also noticed that I took long showers, not any longer than her, mind you, and she asked about it. I explained that a lot of men do not clean themselves properly, and I could see a wave of realization about other men before me wash over her. She has had zero objections to my routine as a result. Story 11. They are two Latin words, et, with a t, meaning and cetera, meaning so on. It's etc., not etc. Cetera. Et with a t. Story 12. Eat. Common knowledge about nutrition seems like more misinformation than not. Eating more basic foods and really paying attention to how different foods affect you seems to be as helpful as most fancy diets. Story 13. Wear airline neck pillows. The opening is supposed to be in the back. Where the backrest is, and you don't need more support. By wearing it correctly, your head will not be able to tilt forward and wake you up. since the neck pillow prevents this. Story 14. In the United States, think a tax refund is a good thing or think of a refund as the goal. It's not free money. It's the government returning an interest-free loan back to you. Story 15. Merge in road construction areas. They line up single file and create a backup instead of zipper merging like you are supposed to. Some people will even try to block you from doing it right because they are so misguided. Story 16. Hand washing. An alarming amount of people do not know how to wash their hands properly. Applying soap on dry skin and lathering it under the water does absolutely nothing. Your hands are dirty. Please do not come near me. Story 17. Most houses and businesses landscaped where I am in the United States are planted with non-native, sometimes invasive plants. They do nothing for our pollinators, birds, and wildlife, and our pollinators are seeing a significant decrease in numbers. The real problem is habitat loss from farms and infrastructure, pesticide use, and drought. But people can help by planting native plants in their yard. Every little bit counts. Story 18. Stop dry rolling the wall for goodness sake. If you have to push on the roller to get paint out of it, put more paint on the roller. Roll all the way from top to bottom with every stroke, or you'll see random splotches in the sheen after it dries. Stop cutting around plates. Take them off and roll right up to the hole. Pull your tape before the paint is cured, or it will take chunks of paint off your corners when it comes off. Story 19. Your side mirrors are adjusted improperly, and it's a bit dangerous with an easy fix. Most four-door sedans and sport utility vehicle-size vehicles don't have much, if any, of a blind spot. Your side view mirrors are supposed to watch the side of your vehicle, so the closer those side view mirrors are to being adjusted properly, the smaller that zone is where a car isn't visible in your side view mirror. People commonly use their side view mirrors as secondary rear view mirrors, and it's a bit dangerous to do that, plus it totally eliminates the utility of your actual rear view mirror. The easiest fix. For either side, sit in an upright driving position and adjust the mirror until your own vehicle is just barely visible in it. Adjust it a little more past that, and what you should have is a mirror that looks down the lane beside you rather than back into your own lane. You shouldn't be able to see much or any of your own vehicle in your side view mirror because, if you think about it, that is a total waste of mirror space. Story 20. Argue. The average person either doesn't know how to or chooses not to argue in good faith. For most people, it seems like winning an argument is defined by winning the audience or delivering the best critique. The majority of people, including me, will argue poorly because optics matter more than logic. Everyone has probably experienced losing an argument they were completely right about because the audience or other party didn't actually care about the logic or soundness of the argument. Story 21. People play smart wrong. The key to sounding smart is making well-flowing, coherent sentences. If you just put an outdated word or two in your sentence, it achieves the opposite of the desired effect. Story 22. Say standard time, when for 8 months out of the year, they mean daylight time. Arizona and Hawaii are the only 2 states that do not observe daylight saving time, and for all the rest of us, we should say Pacific Daylight Time, Mountain Daylight Time, Central Daylight Time, or Eastern Daylight Time. For the 8 months we move our clocks ahead by 1 hour. Story 23. Putting tomatoes in the fridge. Tomatoes contain an enzyme that reacts to cold temperatures, causing the cell membranes to break down and leaving you with a piece of fruit that is mushy and mealy. Story 24. I've been a cycling enthusiast and garage mechanic for over 20 years. The number of people I see riding down the street bouncing up and down on tires that have 15 psi. If you hate your bike commute because it's so tough, try inflating your tires. There are many factors at play when it comes to the efficiency of a bicycle, but I would argue tire pressure has the biggest effect. There are different reasons to want different pressures. For example, with mountain biking, you generally want to go as low as you can without bottoming out your tire on your rim. If you're doing some gravel or dirt path riding, you might want slightly less pressure. But if you're just riding on the road or sidewalk, look at your sidewall to see what the maximum allowable pressure is and do that. Story 25. 99% of people breathe wrongly. They breathe through their mouths instead of their noses, which leads to worse oxygen absorption, dry mouths, and even facial structure changes over time. Nasal breathing is much more efficient and healthier. Story 26. Put those croissant-shaped neck pillows behind their necks, making their throats bow out like Mr. Burns. It's for when you're sleeping while sitting and your head falls forward. It goes under your jaw to support the weight of your head and stop your neck from kinking. Story 27. I've given up with most people. They don't listen and just want to spew their own self-absorbed crap into your face. When you try to say something, they talk over you. On the very rare occasion I've met someone who doesn't, I'm speechless for a few moments. It's a bit like driving behind a BMW, and they actually indicate to change lanes. Story 28. Somewhere in your car, there is a dial or switch that changes the angle your dipped headlights shine at. I can say with confidence that in modern Fords, it's a center button in the middle of the lights dial. Go ahead and park your car in front of a wall or something so you can see where the headlight line is, and try it for yourself. Now turn it down a few notches so it stops blinding me when I drive at night. Also, a fun fact, if you drive with a heavy load in the back of your car, it will angle the car a little differently from how it normally drives. Consider changing your headlight setting on those occasions. Cheers. Story 29. In the United States, install 120-volt 3-prong wall receptacles. 99.99% of the time they are upside down. The single ground should be at the top so that if an item were to fall onto a partially exposed plug, it will not come into contact with the two hot prongs and cause an arc or fire. But what do I know? I am a programmer. Story 30. Install car seats or strap children in incorrectly. If the chair wiggles, it's too loose. No, I don't care that you want to protect your expensive leather seats from indents. Cars are replaceable. More than 2 fingers under the 3 to 5 point straps. Also too loose. Baby in a puffy coat that gives them more movement against the straps? Yes, loose. Baby facing forward too young? Them not seeing you is safer than a developing neck with whiplash. That's lifetime damage. Story 31. Plan for their final years. It is surprising, but in the United States, nursing homes can cost $10,000 to $15,000 per month. When you finally end up on Medicaid, the paperwork is extensive, and they take everything. They review financial records going back 5 to 10 years as well. No, a will not override it. Consider long-term care insurance and putting things into trusts. Story 32. Recover from injury. Studies show that excessive rest is one of the worst things for most soft tissue injuries. Gentle movement is the best. Most people want to be completely sedentary, then jump right back to their previous amount of activities. Story 33. I can't explain why I get so annoyed when I see someone type, should have. It's not just kids that do it. I've seen so many adults spell it like this too. Story 34. Listen to people, especially during arguments. The majority of the time, it's just the person justifying their point and not even listening to the counterpoints the other person is making. Story 35. Gym is not that hard, but not that easy. It takes 20 to 40 minutes for the average person 3 times per week to do a very good training, which you will obviously notice in months, if not weeks. Train hard when you are training, rest properly between sets, do 3 to 4 exercises, 1 to 3 sets, close to failure, and then you're done, home. There is no need to spend 2 hours, you're not competing. But you can't be with your phone in the middle of the leg extension because you're not even trying. If people realized how easy the gym could actually be to show results for normal humans, I'm sure they would go much more. People go to the gym for 2 hours in January, burn themselves out with an impossible program they took from a professional influencer, fail, and decide the gym is not for them. Story 36. Bobby pins are supposed to be put in with the flat side facing up and the crinkle side facing down. It's a small one, but I've never seen a woman, including myself, do it correctly. Story 37. In the United States, when making turns in a car, left turns should be squared to have a wider visibility of pedestrians. If there are multiple lanes for the turn, follow the line. I see even professional drivers with a commercial driver's license cut turns and cross lane lines. Story 38. Probably not 99%, but I always used to rinse my mouth out after brushing my teeth, as it seemed like the right thing to do. I am a retired person and just recently learned that you are not supposed to rinse if you use toothpaste with fluoride because you wash away the fluoride. Story 39. Attitudes. People very often project an off-putting attitude unintentionally and receive pushback accordingly. This reinforces a defensive mentality and makes that person's attitude even more off-putting. Speaking to someone in short, sharp sentences with a demanding tone can come across as insufferable, yet it is often just how people communicate. Being negative makes you an emotional vampire and pushes others away while attracting those who are more prone to negativity into your life. Story 40. People say they are jealous when they mean they are envious. Envy occurs when someone else has something you want. If someone got a new boyfriend and you wish you had him, you are envious, not jealous. Jealousy is when you already have something and fear another person will take it away. If you have a boyfriend and that girl at the bar is flirting with him, then you are jealous.